You ever wonder how your computer takes just a total mess of data and poof, snaps it into these perfect, orderly lines? You know, like sorting emails by date or maybe your files by name? Well, it all comes down to a set of instructions, what we call an algorithm. So today, we're going to dive into one of the most fundamental sorting algorithms out there, the bubble sort.
It's a question we deal with all the time, right? Trying to organize a bookshelf, put a playlist in just the right order, or even just tackle a messy room. The challenge is always the same. You've got this jumbled up list and you need a system to fix it. Well, computers need a system too, and the one we're looking at today is about as simple as it gets.
And here it is, the bubble sort. Its whole strategy is honestly beautifully simple. It just looks at two items that are right next to each other and asks, are you two in the right order? If not, it swaps them. And then it just keeps doing that over and over and over again until the whole list is sorted. It gets its name because the biggest items tend to bubble up to their correct spots, kind of like air bubbles in water.
Okay, to really get a feel for how this works, let's forget about abstract computer data for a minute. Instead, we're going to head down the cereal aisle at the supermarket. We've got 5 boxes here. They're all mixed up, and our one mission is to sort them alphabetically, from A to Z.
All right, let's do our first pass. We only look at 2 boxes at a time, side by side. The rule is simple. If the box on the left comes after the box on the right in the alphabet, they're out of order, and we swap them. So first up, cornflakes and fruit and fiber. C comes before F, so they're good. No swap. Okay, next pair. Fruit and fiber versus Weetabix. W comes way after F, so swap. Weetabix moves 1 spot to the right. Now Weetabix is up against crunchy nut clusters. Again, W is heavier than C, so we swap them again. See? Weetabix just keeps moving down the line. And finally, Weetabix is next to Sugar Puffs. W comes after S, so that's one last swap for this pass.
And this is perfect. This is exactly why it's called the bubble sort. After just one full trip down the aisle, the heaviest item, in this case Weetabix, since W is last alphabetically, has bubbled all the way to the end of the line. It's right where it belongs. That's one box sorted, and we don't have to touch it again.
On to round 2. Now we don't even need to look at Weetabix anymore, it's locked in place. So we go back to the beginning. Cornflakes and fruit and fiber, they're still in the right order, so we leave them be. But the next pair, fruit and fiber versus crunchy nut clusters, they're mixed up. F comes after C, so they need to be swapped. The algorithm just keeps chugging along, and as you can see, another swap is needed between Sugar Puffs and what is now crunchy nut. With every single pass, the next heaviest item bubbles up toward its correct spot, and our job gets just a little bit easier.
So we just rinse and repeat. We do this process of comparing and swapping a few more times, and with each pass, the next largest item finds its final home. Eventually, we'll do a full pass down the aisle without making a single swap. And that's the signal that tells the algorithm, okay, my work here is done. The cereal aisle is now in perfect alphabetical order.
So now, let's translate our cereal aisle adventure into something a computer can actually understand. This is called pseudocode, and yeah, it looks a bit technical, I get it, but don't worry, it's really just a step-by-step recipe that lays out exactly what we just did with those cereal boxes. Let's break it down, piece by piece.
Okay, the first part of our recipe is the while loop. You can think of this as the manager of the whole operation. It basically says, hey, as long as we made at least one swap in the last pass, we are not done yet. Keep going. The second we complete a full pass with 0 swaps, this engine just shuts off.
Now, inside that main loop, we have the for loop. This is the employee who's actually walking down the cereal aisle. Its only job is to go from the first box to the second to last, looking at each pair of items one by one. This is where all those side-by-side comparisons happen.
And right at the heart of it all is the if statement. This is the brain. For every single pair the for loop looks at, this if statement asks that one simple question: is the item on the left bigger than the item on the right? And if the answer is yes, then it gives the command, swap them. Simple as that.
So, let's talk about the good and the bad of bubble sort. What are the trade-offs? Well, its biggest advantage, by far, is just how simple it is. It's incredibly easy to understand what's happening, and it's easy to code, which makes it a fantastic tool for learning how algorithms think. But, and this is a really big but, it is so inefficient. All of that comparing, back and forth, over and over again, it takes a ton of time.
And just to put that inefficiency into perspective, imagine we're not sorting 5 cereal boxes. Imagine we're sorting 1 million customer records. A bubble sort would have to make an absolutely staggering number of comparisons. It would be painfully slow. So slow that it's just completely impractical for the huge data sets we all work with today.
So you might be thinking, if it's so slow, why on earth are we even talking about it? Well, because bubble sort is one of the best teachers in all of computer science. It perfectly shows you the basic building blocks of programming, loops and conditional logic. It gives you a crystal clear example of that constant trade-off between a simple solution and an efficient one. And hey, for a tiny, tiny list, it actually works just fine.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought. We are always chasing faster, more complex, more optimized solutions. But bubble sort is this great reminder of the value of just starting with a simple idea. Understanding this straightforward step-by-step process doesn't just teach you one slow algorithm. It actually gives you the foundation to understand how all sorting algorithms think. It proves that sometimes the simplest idea really can be the most powerful place to start.